Hello, I'm Donna Arnold and I am the Story Hunter. Today I want to talk about the story of a young lady who actually had a wonderful life, a relatively good life in the mother country in the UK in the 1800s. And her story, how she came out to Australia. She was a brave lady, how she ventured out to Australia, and her story both there and here. Now, before I go into depth with it, just a little bit about myself. As I said, I'm the story hunter. I love family trees. I love searching family trees. Searching family trees and getting little bits of information is reminds me of a treasure hunt. You remember those movies where the pirates and of course the good guys, they'd fight and they'd try and race each other and they would go for days and days and there'd be twists and turns and there'd be hints and work out whether the hint is real or whether it's just a false lead. That's the sort of thing that looking for your ancestors is the same thing. There are bits of information and you've got to work out whether it's correct or not. And it will lead you on to other bits of information and other people's names that come into the mix. I just think it's absolutely fascinating. Of course, you've got information to use when you find it is because they're coming over to Australia, in that case, you've got the ship's register. So the names are there. And if it's a family, it makes it easy because they're all listed on the same register, aren't they? All listed together under their surname. There are census. Now, the UK have been doing census for hundreds of years. So finally, there's a use for census. Nobody really likes to do a census every 5 years here, but there's a good reason for our generations, future generations, so they can see what we did and where we went and what we made of our lives. There is other information, newspaper clippings. Way back when in the newspaper clippings, nothing was private. So you got all the information, all the juicy bits and pieces. It was just wonderful. And of course, then there were photos. Thank God, whoever created the camera is just brilliant because you can see not only just have a photo, but you can actually see the resemblance. I'm amazed at how many generations with a mix of other family members, how sometimes those facial features come through. So they're the sort of things that I just love doing. Now, I love it for myself, but I also love other people's stories. I can sit and watch Who Do You Think You Are? For hours, and even if they're repeats, I love watching it because find out where they came from. I remember Brooke Shields. She has a tree with one of the King Louis in France. How exciting was that? So I can help you. If you're stuck or you can't get started and you need a little bit of help, that's exactly what I can do. You're the one who's doing the journey, but I can give you a helping hand. Just some tips and to find your way through the maze, to get rid of those dead ends. So that's what I want to do. So if you're interested, please contact me on Facebook. Send me a message from here. I'd love to hear from you. We can organise a time to chat and take it from there. Right, enough of me. Back to my story. This lady's name was Susan. And as I said, she was a young lady in the 1800s. Her father was a coffee house keeper in Kensington. And it appears that she lived a really comfortable life, shall we say. I've seen photographs that have been handed down and I'm just amazed. All I was just in awe, my mouth was open. These people had some money. You could see the way the photos are, and there was a lot of photos, not just one. There was 3 photo albums that I saw. So she was living a relatively comfortable life, a young lady. And of course, the coffee house is a place where politicians and business people would always meet up. No alcohol. It was meeting for coffee, tea, or hot chocolates. And they would talk about topics such as politics, of course, and scandals was a big one. And just what was going on around in the city of London. So anyway, so she had opportunity, young Susan had opportunity to meet possible wealthy suitors. Oh, the opportunity would have been there because she was always lovely, well-dressed, her hair was done, there was a ribbon in her hair. So she would have had a relatively happy life in the 1800s. But Susan decided that she fell in love and she wanted this man who was a joiner or a carpenter. Joseph was his name. So they were together for about 10 years and had about 4 children. And in 1870, they decided that they were going to go to Australia and start a new life. And of course, 1870, well, Australia was around about, getting close to 90 years old, 80 years old. So, they were heading off and they found themselves, they went to Brisbane. So it's here they wanted to establish themselves. And the first thing I thought of is, my, I'm so glad they arrived in July in our winter, because the clothing that they wear, they're going to feel the heat. Anybody who really lives in Australia knows the heat as opposed to the UK. So that would have been their first issue. Now, what's happened is they've established themselves in Brisbane City, in Petrie Terrace. I've actually found the block where they actually started living. So I was just amazed at all this. There was another place they were in Given Terrace as well. So I found information, as it turns out. So from 1870 to 1878, she had a number of children. Some of them passed away during at birth, and a couple of them survived. But unfortunately, she passed away as well, giving birth in 1878. So her life was cut short. So while it was a sad story, kudos to Susan for actually saying she was going to leave her home country, leave the comfortable life, and come out to Australia and settle in Australia. Well, that was it for me. That's Susan anyway. I hope you did enjoy my story. If you're still with me, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you next time on The Story Hunter. And in the meantime, you have a wonderful day. Bye.